Let's watch another. We're gonna watch a video called John Wanted to Collect His Wife's Life Insurance Policy. Something tells me this might be a bit more brutal than just fraud.
This is 54-year-old
John also
John
looks
Lewis.
very interesting.
John is about to be interviewed by the police after he called 911 claiming he had been attacked by two men in his basement. During the attack, his wife Carla had been shot and killed. When the police arrived on scene, they found a door hidden behind a bookshelf that led to a secret room where John grew his medicinal herbs. On the floor, behind a large group of plants, they found his wife's body.
We're going to do an investigation. We're trying to figure out what happened here, okay? I'm going to read your rights because it is a criminal investigation, okay? We're trying to figure out what happened today, okay? And then we'll go from there, okay?
Oh God, this
we just got here, okay?
This audio clicking is going to drive me nuts.
State Police. I'm Rick from the Sheriff's Department. We're both detectives. So we're trying to figure out what happened today, okay? Hold on, let me read you.
This guy is like partially Mr. Garrison.
What happened today?
She came home.
Okay.
We were sitting on the couch talking about food. And said she wanted to go to bed early. I said, help me move my plant.
Okay, let's just back up. We're going to go.
I have to turn it down a bit. It's tapping.
Okay?
Carla met John in 2007, and they quickly decided to get married. Carla
It's
worked
clicking
for
at
Bayer
me.
Pharmaceuticals, while John worked repairing small motor vehicles. Carla's family did not like John because he was a very quiet person and he spent a lot of his time and money on cannabis. Eventually, John would get a license to sell the plants in Michigan, and he opened a dispensary called Seven Leaves Compassion Club.
Well, that doesn't really seem
Before
like a
he
reason to
opened the
hate him.
store, John spent time with his wife and her family whenever he could. But after he opened the store, John became obsessed with his business, and he spent every moment he could selling and smoking with his customers. John began to love the power of being an important person who supplied a high-demand product in his town.
Are you working right now?
Unfortunately, that's what most people care about.
Can you help me out? What kind of business is that?
You'd be surprised how many people want the attention and power over more than anything else. Really.
So she comes home. Tell me what happened. Have you talked to her this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is going home, and you got there. And we were sitting there talking about the truck, and about her business. She said she
Hello? Why did he get like cringe TikTok voicey?
What time did she get home?
Why did women get so pressed?
early. It was, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock. We were there for an hour. We sat there, we sat on the table, we smoked and talked about her trip.
What am I hearing?
So tell me what happened.
My fault.
It's your fault?
I froze up. I just froze.
Tell me what happened.
We were moving the plant. When I looked up, I was going on.
Now help me out here. I haven't been inside your house. Where are your marijuana plants?
Help me out here. Speak the hell up.
Are you a caregiver? Do you have a weed card? I'm assuming.
I can't hear a single fucking thing he's saying.
So you're moving marijuana plants. Okay. Tell me. Now think real quick. What happened?
Can you guys hear fine? I'm just trying to keep the noise from like the clicking down. It's fine. Okay.
Step by step and go really slow for me.
Why are there 2 watermarks? People steal shit like this all the time. Nah, I don't know. This is a bit dramatic. My mouse on screen. This moving watermark is a bit dramatic.
What is with the tattoo tattoos this dude has?
This guy is a black guy.
Tattoos.
He just kept fucking shooting. He wouldn't stop. He just kept shooting.
Where were you guys at when the shooting started? You were in the marijuana room?
Yeah. We were in the room. Didn't even see.
Where were the guys at? Were they downstairs or up on the, where were they at? Tell me where they
They
at.
had been in the basement.
What is happening, dude?
Been in the basement. We were up the stairs. I let the dogs out. We were sitting there talking. I said, I'll be
Damn, it was him who did it.
down, and they were there. They were right.
Finally.
So you're saying the suspects were already in your house?
They were in my house. They were in that house.
John claims that he asked Carla to help him move some plants. When the couple entered the grow room, two men began firing their guns at them from inside the room. John was never hit, but Carla was hit 5 times.
Miracle.
These tattoos look
The
like
detectives
they were
find the
done in
story to be
Sharpie.
very strange, so they need to get more information from John.
They fucking real, man. They real.
So you're talking, you two are down, upstairs talking on the couch, okay? And then you guys go downstairs.
We went downstairs.
And how long? since
Nothing
you guys
but the best
got
quality from the
downstairs
police,
that
guys.
you said,
It was right there. We went straight to the room. I opened the door. I said, move that one there, and that one there. And I bet to move the other one.
It does not help that he is so
Shooting,
impossible to hear right now with this fake ass, like,
how
crying.
many guys?
I seen 2 guys.
Two guys were,
Somebody was standing behind that other guy with the gun.
how many guys had guns? Just the one guy?
That's all I saw. He just kept shooting. I gotta talk to her.
What were they saying?
I can't imagine this.
They're just
They
shooting.
started shooting.
Like, imagine doing this to your spouse and then, like, trying to make, like, playing this scenario out. You know what I mean? That's,
So how many rounds did they fire? Do you know?
how do you even think that you're a good person or this is a good idea? Messed up.
So after the shooting, what's going on? Did you call her?
My God, this microphone is so bad.
And I tried to get the phone, it wouldn't work shit.
Did you call for police help?
Yes,
Okay. On your phone?
yes.
Okay.
Mike is rusty.
Kept trying to call back and it wouldn't work.
These guys weren't saying anything?
They didn't say a word, they just started shooting at me. They didn't say shit, they just started shooting.
What happened after the shooting? They just left?
They turned around and ran, and I just grabbed her.
They just
Did they ask
left?
for anything?
No, they didn't say.
I mean, you got a pocket full of money. They didn't rob you?
Which, first of all, red flag. There's not a scenario in which somebody would commit a crime like this and, like, not take the money or the values unless there is, like, some sort of personal interest here. So logically, this doesn't result in a loss of money. It becomes a crime of passion to the police. And, like, who do we think the first suspect is in the sense, like when a spouse dies? The other spouse. So it's like, I don't really know what made him think he could, like, cook here. He ain't. So
They didn't say nothing. They just started shooting.
this is somebody who thinks he knows how criminals work and that he can get away with it, clearly.
And you were upstairs for an hour. Did you see any cars outside or anything prior to anything? Anybody show up at the house?
No.
I can get away with a crime.
How did your
How hard
wife
could it
get
be?
home?
I could just say somebody else did it.
From her mom's?
Yeah.
I'm a pretty convincing person.
Her car.
What kind of car does she?
Why is he shirtless? Great question.
Mazda?
No idea. No idea.
And where's
Not even like he got arrested. He just
You don't know.
was shirtless. Maybe he thought it would add to the trauma of him being like unprepared for the moment. That's what I bet.
They're in her purse all the time.
He thinks it's like gonna add some depth of his argument because he
Do you know if her purse is still
he didn't know it was gonna happen.
You don't know where the car
My shirt's off. How would I have
when
known?
you went downstairs, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, she pulled in. I helped her unload.
Wouldn't it be weird if he had gunshot residue all over his torso because he's shirtless? Or he wasn't shot, got gunshot residue on his shirt, got rid of the shirt. There you go.
It,
Okay.
Either way,
and we closed the garage.
I could see him using it to try to add to his argument, or he got rid of his shirt because he shot with the shirt on. Does he have the Pringles man tattooed on him? Where?
The garage door was down?
Huh?
Yes.
This? All they took was my shirt.
Back. She was right behind me, and she pushed the button and closed the door.
Ooh, takes out the Madrinas.
We were there for so long.
My watermark.
We talked about her
My
mom
video now.
and what we wanted to eat.
At this point, John claims he doesn't know if his wife is dead or alive. You would think that if there was a chance his wife was still alive, he would want to be at her side.
I got 99 problems and 420 solutions. Wow. What a shirt, bro. Me after I smoke weed a single time. That's like me. That's like me when. Like, Sneak, could you get away with murder? I think it's more than I wouldn't want to. Like, already the moral reasons to not do it, just with my knowledge of how investigations work, it's pretty difficult to get away with it at all. There's not a whole lot of like, I don't know, I mean, there's plenty of cold cases, but there's not a whole lot of cold cases in terms of like murder, if that's what you're asking, at least to my knowledge. But like, it's definitely way harder with the advancement of technology for people to even get away with stuff like this. Like, if we throwing out morality, like besides like my moral everything to not do it, if you're talking about like just like example, Brian Koberger, the Idaho killer, he was studying for his master's in criminology and he got caught because he's an idiot. And they tracked his geolocational data on his phone from Idaho to the campus he committed those murders. Multiple times, actually. They caught him there every single time he went to scout the building for when he should strike. Every time. So a person with similar academic knowledge to me still didn't do it right. The biggest vulnerability of a person wanting to do a crime like this is the hubris of thinking they should do a crime like this because they think there's no way that they can get caught because they've thought of everything, but they don't. Realistically, almost every criminal doesn't. There's something that gives. People can't keep up a lie their entire life. Something gives eventually. Their ego is almost always their downfall. Loads of serial killers have been caught because they've just done something very, very simple but stupid enough to get attention that has gotten them into police questioning. So yeah, but to answer your question, I wouldn't get away with it because I just wouldn't want to do it. What do I think happened to Zodiac? I mean, like, he was active before DNA evidence was really used heavily. They didn't have a whole lot to go off of because he was very like physically like covered anytime he did anything. So they couldn't find his face. They couldn't find his fingerprints. Even if they had DNA evidence, he didn't take trophies. He didn't leave weapons, but he taunted the police with I don't know the term for that, the puzzle word. There is all that stuff about like him being potentially found and already being dead. I haven't really read up on all that. So the problem is we don't know because it happened during a time where like this sort of stuff isn't as easily gained or accessed. And like, it certainly wasn't kept up to this time of age. So it's like hard to like say whether or not it's true or not because they didn't really keep a bunch of stuff around as best as they do now. So anyway.
Or at least in the hospital she is being treated in. John is saving his best acting.
My
but when
God.
he finally asks if his wife is alive later on in this video.
Why would they come in your house and shoot you? Or try to shoot you? You owe people money.
I don't owe nobody nothing. Nothing. I don't fucking do nothing to nobody.
Real.
I don't do nothing to nobody.
There's questions I gotta ask, and you're gonna get mad at me, but I gotta ask them, okay? If you and your wife been having problems at all?
Not one.
Not one?
Perfect.
Well, that's a lie. That's just not how marriages work.
No.
Nothing is perfect in a marriage. That's the whole thing you have to understand. About the work you put in to make it better.
You know,
About bills.
What the
Ever.
what is he
are
saying?
you guys low on some cash money? Are you doing good or what?
We're all right.
We're all right? You're paying the bills then?
Yeah. She does all that. I can't do that.
You guys been having any bad times lately at all or anything?
Never.
Never?
We've been fine.
What John hasn't told them is that his business was in the negative and he was about to lose everything. Carla had a $250,000 life insurance policy, and John was a beneficiary. The money provided John with a motive to take Carla's life. John has also left out that he was having affairs with multiple women over the past 6 years.
Oh,
Just my wife, dead.
let him marinate, bro.
It's why?
This is great by the police. They're sitting here letting him like.
Did somebody tell you this already or no? Did somebody tell you this?
They said she was dead.
She's deceased.
No, she's not.
She is.
No, she's not.
That's why we were talking.
No, she's not. I can't do this on my own.
What do you mean by that? She helps you or something?
Yes. I can't do this without her.
Why is he talking like this? He's talking like he's choked up, but he's not acting choked up at all. Oh my god.
Get you some more Kleenex. You gotta help her. Tell me why they want to freaking. Were they shooting at you?
They were shooting, I was off to the side, I fell back, I just panicked, I reached up and they were just flying by. And I thought I was dead.
But you're not hit. You're not hurt. Thank God.
It's my fault. I froze up. I should've gone.
What were you gonna get him with? I mean, what could you have done?
I could've
You're like-
grabbed that gun.
How close were you?
His gun?
Very,
I mean, enough to reach 3 feet.
yep,
Very close, yet you
And you've
dodged
never
all the
seen these
bullets.
guys- You've never seen these guys before.
never.
And they didn't say one damn word to you,
No,
man?
they didn't say a word, dude, I swear to God. She screamed, I turned, and it was...
This is such a male moment. Yeah, if I was getting shot at, I could react fast enough and grab the gun, I think. I think if I was getting shot at, I could like dodge the bullets and like take the gun and like disarm him. Like that guy on TikTok. I think I could do that. Bam. No, you can't. People don't understand, unless they've shot a gun, how fast a bullet rips out of the chamber. Like, you don't see it. You will not see it. No matter how close to it you are, it is pulled, gone. It is instantaneous. And unless the person shooting is like a moron who's hesitating or anything like that, they're just going to be like, bam, 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 no matter what you're doing. Like it's not exactly easy to just like dodge a pistol. That's the whole problem, is they're scary and it's pretty hard to stop them. That's the whole reason it's dangerous, because there's not a good way to hinder gun firings besides more guns or just getting rid of them, which people with guns don't like getting rid of them because then they can't fire guns at guns. And there's where you get the whole circular problem. What a silly moment. I could have grabbed the gun. I could have stopped it. I was 3 feet from them, but they didn't shoot me a single time. And they also just killed my wife and left me alone. I promise.
You did not say one word to me. Okay.
You wanna?
Yeah. No problem. I'm on your phone, something.
Yeah, he said just a couple minutes ago he would have stopped
a
it.
friend of John's named Justin, who has evidence that John murdered his wife.
What?
While one of the detectives leaves the room to see what the evidence is, the other one continues to interrogate John.
No shot. What an idiot. I'm going to tell my friend I'm going to kill somebody. There's no way he would tell someone. He's my friend.
You ever heard her? You know I got a job to do. My job is to bring justice for your wife, okay? I want to eliminate you, so there's certain... If you
Yeah,
have
man,
to,
totally.
Let me know. If some shit happened, you know what I mean? If things went haywire and it was an accident, you gotta let me know, man. Okay.
I want to go see her. So,
You shouldn't have no gunshot residue on your hands at all, right? Okay. There's no weapons at all in your house? Okay.
there's like my kid's old BB.
No, okay, I'm not worried about that.
Why aren't they asking why his shirt's off?
How did they get in your house?
The doors are always open.
But you didn't see them,
I
right?
never lock my doors.
Well, that's just fucking
My
stupid.
front door, that's it. The back door is always open. Always. For years. Years. I've left my truck in my driveway with a key on it.
Now, when I got there at your house, I was just there not. Your truck's in the drive or garage, correct?
Yeah.
She pulls in. She closes the door. So right now, help me out here. Your garage door is closed. Is there another access door to walk into the garage on the front or no?
On the back.
In the back, okay. Your front door. Is there a front door? There's a front door, right?
For the house.
Yeah. Is that locked or unlocked?
That should be locked.
That should be locked. So the only way they can get in your house is
Through the back.
through the
yard.
back? Okay. Now, you have a fence. They'd have to hop the fence, or is it?
The one gates are jacked up.
Okay, yeah, I did go to the back.
I never did nothing to nobody. Never did nothing. I never pissed nobody off except for people that I didn't know were pissed off.
Right. I guess the main question I have for you right now, would you do that to your wife?
Never, dude. I swear to God.
Have you ever hit your wife?
Never. I love her. She took care of me.
Okay.
She's been, even when she's
Arrest him already? They don't know he did it yet. They're just now hearing word that he did. That's why the officer left the room.
So I got a tech that can take samples off your hands. There won't be no gunshot residue. That's good.
They're currently trying to figure out if he did. That's why he's asking these questions.
To make sure you're telling me the truth, okay? We've got to eliminate you, okay?
Don't use hindsight bias.
Because the only person I know
That's the problem I have with all of these crime channels is they use hindsight bias to show random things within footage as if they're being very analytical and smart, but they know the result of this situation already, so they're showing things as if like the police are thinking this, and it's just not fucking true. So you're like, why aren't they arresting him? He's guilty. We know he's guilty. They might not know that. Because contextually, this guy is got a dead spouse. He's describing a situation that, even though it makes no sense to any of them, could still potentially happen. So they're pressing him for more answers to make sure that it didn't actually happen. But because we know it didn't happen, we think it's silly for them to do this. This is not silly for them to do this. It's actually very diligent of the police to do this. Might I like give them credit for the one sentence I am. This is the proper way to go about it. But do you know if hindsight bias is happening? I mean, you really don't. That's why people do it, is because they don't understand that they're doing it. But that's what happens with a lot of these criminology expert channels, is they'll see videos, they'll see the evidence, they'll see the situation, they'll see how it played out, and then they'll go back and they'll show you things within the footage to be like, oh, the police are now going to do this because he's acting weird, etc. But like, none of that is hard evidence that the police can use. They cannot use a guy acting strange in an interrogation room as a means of detainment. There needs to be a valid criminal charge to give somebody to detain them within jail. You can't be like, well, he was acting weird. He was his body was moving around. He was shifty. He's being a little shifty guy. His story didn't add up. That's not a charge. It's a reason to be suspicious. Reasonable suspicion is a reason to get them in an interrogation room, but it's not a reason to detain them beyond the interrogation room. And all these channels tend to take stuff like that create this situation, potentially, and act as if it's the reason that this person is going beyond the situation. That's just not how it works.
House at that time was you. You know what I mean? You're there. Okay. Once we eliminate you, we got full.
I can go see her.
Yeah, we gotta eliminate you. And you gotta come to me and say, dude, I fucked up or whatever. It was an accident, so we don't be chasing, ghosts. You know.
No, you cannot be charged for being a silly goose.
Okay.
You're free to go.
Give you a little break here in a minute. You good with water? Be right back.
Justin just gave several boxes of ammunition to the police that matched the same ammo found at the crime scene. Justin claims that earlier that day, John called him and asked him to go to the shop and remove the ammunition he kept there. Justin did as he was asked, but when he saw the Facebook post reporting that Carla had been shot, he realized that John was trying to hide something. When the detectives re-enter the room, they know the murderer is right there in front of them.
So what did you and talk about? Anything?
I like this I like this channel.
I asked him about if he was getting that wall.
He does a good job of not like putting hindsight bias within his analysis.
Didn't give him a bag?
He tells it in this in a timeline fashion of like the police in their process of getting to this situation's like finale, and I think it's a really good way to go towards it, because it stops you from like throwing in unnecessary or just like non-scientific detail that the police would go off of.
No, we're not talking weed. Some ammo. Gotta be honest with me. We gotta be honest together, dude. You're hiding shit on me, man. We gotta. Let's be honest. What happened today? You gotta be honest, man. We got a job to do.
We do this shit for a living, pal.
I know.
We do this for a living, okay? No, stop. We do this for a living. What you're telling us doesn't fly. We've got detectives talking to right now. He says you met with him at 4:30 today.
Utility.
And you told him go over to the shop, get a bag of ammo and magazines, which he has turned over to us. All right? Now this is your time to be honest. We don't judge you. We sit here with a lot of people. I'm the last person, Riggs is last for a judge. We don't judge you, but this is your time to tell the truth, okay? Because what you've been telling us so far, that is not the truth, man. I'm telling you, listen, talking to us right now. You're telling us that she got there, nobody left. Your neighbor is already telling us that you pulled out in that vehicle.
Welp, they've caught me. Yeah, this looks like he's about to say drat.
About 4 o'clock
Curses.
in her car, the CRX.
My silly murder plot's been figured out.
You're telling me that it never left.
No.
So,
I told
what
them
you
the
tell
car
us
was gone.
What you're telling us that happened didn't happen.
Who drove the car out?
That's what I'm talking about.
What?
That's whoever was shooting.
Well, the neighbors are saying at 4:10 today that vehicle is leaving.
And the 911 call wasn't until 4:56. How you figure that?
It's like a
I can't tell you about time. I already told you.
No, we're telling you about time.
Scared as shit.
We're talking about Right, we're telling you time.
This MF
We're talking
sounds
about
like
2
he's
hours
about to
difference
sell
here.
me
Well, I'm
propane
sorry
and
about that
propane
time
accessories.
difference. I can't, I
Hank Hill
wasn't
sound
perfect
equals.
about my time things.
So you're telling me that after your wife gets shot, she's laying there, you sat there for 2 hours before you called
No,
911?
I did not.
Then why is your neighbor saying that your vehicle left at
Check
4?
my phone.
That's
I don't care
crazy.
about the phone. I'm talking about what your neighbor's saying.
No way.
And then we got telling us something different.
No.
So, I mean, that's a deal.
Just so we're clear, the police can check all this. Not only can they subpoena the phone company, either the phone, the people who have his physical phone, or the company that gives him his data, to give them the time of call to match up with what he's saying. They can also, within the coroner examination, they can study the victim's body, and you can carbon date an almost near approximation of when a body dies. It is almost exact. It's not perfect, but you can literally see the carbon within a living organism stop being produced, and you can tell near the time it goes away. So they can 100% be like, she died at 2 p.m. He didn't call anybody till 4.
Your story is
Forensics.
not high up. We can look at the evidence that happened downstairs. What you're telling us didn't happen.
Look at my phone. I called.
We don't need to look at the phone.
I called immediately after that happened.
We don't need to look at the phone. We're talking about physical evidence downstairs.
The rounds, everything. Things aren't adding up. Things aren't adding up at all.
I don't know.
Was it accidental?
What?
When you shot your wife, was it an accident?
I want a lawyer right now. I didn't shoot my wife.
Was it an accident, though?
I didn't shoot my wife.
Well, then tell us what happened, because what you're telling us, it didn't
I
happen.
told you what happened. There were people in my f***ing house.
Who are these people?
I don't know.
Even if he was innocent in this scenario, you would lawyer up immediately.
The dude with the gun was black and big.
You know what I mean?
Bigger than me.
Why did you give this ammo?
I just want to talk to a lawyer. If you guys are already telling you already accusing me of this, and I didn't do it.
We can only go with the evidence. I mean, we're just looking for a space. Why is he handing over evidence to us?
What are you talking about, evidence?
Ammo, magazines.
Maybe that was his shit. Oh my God, I can't believe this.
I'll go get a CVEX report. It's gonna take the clothes.
Because John asked for a lawyer, the detectives were forced to stop asking him questions about the case. After getting a search warrant for John's phone, they found that he had recently been researching where to buy guns and silencers just 10 days before the murder. The police also talked to one of the women he was having an affair with, and she told them that he had been seeing her for 6 years. She also claimed that John had asked her if she would move in with him if he became a widower. Prosecution was able to build a strong case against John, and he would be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Was John telling the truth,
I
or
mean,
was
can't
he
they
a murderer?
technically still ask
Please share your
questions
thoughts in
even
the
after
comments
he
below.
asked for a lawyer?
Sorry, my mom called. Yes. So the police technically, there's a weird nuance to it. It's like yes and no. So legally, it is an American citizen's right to have a lawyer present during a police interrogation. When said person asks, the police can kind of ignore it. It's not like they'll never get the lawyer, but like they can try to continue to press him and see if he just doesn't stand firm on asking for it. Because some people aren't smart enough about asking. They'll just like ask and then it'll move on and then they'll just like, you know. But yeah, eventually they do have to like let him have his lawyer. But also like sometimes that basically just ends the interrogation because the police don't want to deal with the lawyer at all because lawyers are smarter than this absolute doorknob of a person and will just be like, literally stop saying anything. What an idiot, bro. That's almost as bad as Lori Vallow looking up fucking wedding shit before both of her and the guy she was having an affair with spouses were dead. Like, how fucking stupid are you? I don't get it. There's such an insane technological incompetence. Not that I want this to happen, but I'm interested in the evolution of crime within the technological gap, because we're getting middle-aged criminals who have zero idea of like any sort of technological tracking. This idea that like you can look something up and there is not a single soul who will know it or find it. That is the entire purpose of Google. Google makes money off of your information. You know what I mean? That's the entire purpose, is getting answers from you. It is so wild to see so many people just like not think of it. I don't know.